For decades, we've all seen the pictures, right? These incredible, untouchable stealth fighters. The F-35, it's supposed to be the absolute pinnacle of air power. But what if that whole idea of invincibility is, well, a carefully crafted myth? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that myth and explore how modern electronic warfare might just be the ghost in the machine.
Okay, let's just jump right into the deep end with one single startling question. How could something as basic as a power surge, an electrical zap, take out one of the most expensive and sophisticated weapons ever built? It sounds like science fiction, but the answer, as we're about to see, really shows how the rules of war are fundamentally changing.
So, first things first, let's tackle this myth head on. We're going to dig into how advanced electronic warfare is already finding cracks in the armor of these supposedly invisible, unbeatable fighter jets. And let's be real, this image we all have in our heads, it didn't just pop up out of thin air. For years, the Pentagon's media machine has been working overtime to build this very perception. The F-35 isn't just a weapon. It's been carefully packaged and sold to us as a symbol of untouchable technological dominance. Now, let's get into the actual science of it, the nitty-gritty. This is where we find the first major crack in the myth. Because, according to the basic laws of physics, being completely invisible to all kinds of radar, it's just not possible.
See, here's the key. You gotta understand there are two different kinds of radar. Stealth technology is absolutely brilliant at hiding from high-frequency, targeting radar. That's the kind missiles use to lock on. But against the old-school, low-frequency stuff, the big long waves used for early warning, the F-35 might as well be a 747. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And here's the crazy reason why. It's a phenomenon called resonance. Basically, when a low-frequency radar wave is the exact same physical size as, say, the tail fin on the F-35, that part of the plane lights up like a Christmas tree on the radar screen. It reflects the signal perfectly. The jet's own shape actually betrays it.
But the physical shape, that's only half the story. The jet's real power, its incredible computer brain, is also its most profound vulnerability. Its greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. Just look at this number. 8 million lines of code. The F-35 isn't really a plane with a computer in it. It's a supercomputer that just happens to fly. And with that much complexity, you can bet there are an enormous number of places where things can go wrong. So, the F-35's critical flaw is that it absolutely depends on a constant data link to a cloud system for everything. That means an enemy doesn't need to shoot it down. They just have to jam that connection with a bunch of digital static, just white noise. And once they do that, the pilot is blind. All those fancy sensors go dark. And in a classic, up-close dogfight, this big, heavy jet suddenly becomes a very expensive, very easy target.
All right, now we get to the most shocking part of this whole story. The idea that you don't need a multi-million-dollar missile to kill this thing. You might just need a few $100 and a little bit of know-how.
First, let's just remember the price tag of the target we're talking about. $100 million for a single jet. Just keep that number in your head for a second.
Okay, so what is this Goliath Slayer? It's a homemade EMP weapon, a directed electromagnetic pulse. And when you break it down, the components are almost laughably simple. You take a magnetron, the thing that heats up your food in a microwave, you hook it up to a bank of capacitors to give it a massive electrical jolt, and then you point all that energy using what's basically a metal funnel. And the cost for all those parts? According to the source material, about $500. $500. The cost of a new phone to potentially swat a $100 million fighter jet out of the sky. That is the very definition of asymmetric warfare. And the effect is just devastatingly simple. That focused pulse of microwave energy finds its way in through antennas or tiny seams in the jet's skin, and it just fries the sensitive microchips that run the fly-by-wire system. The engine might still be roaring, but with its digital brain completely melted, the jet is uncontrollable. The pilot is now just a passenger in a $100 million rock. And listen, this isn't just some theory from a science fiction movie. Let's look at how countries around the world are already developing and using these exact principles on the modern electronic battlefield. This is happening right now. I mean, these tactics are already out there. Iran famously used GPS spoofing to trick an advanced US drone into just landing itself in their territory. They also use what are called passive systems to find stealth fighters without ever sending out a signal of their own.
And then you have China, which is building jets like the J-16D Roaring Dragon, specifically to blind U.S. naval ships, and even developing swarms of stealth drones designed to just overwhelm enemy defenses with electronic noise.
So what does all this mean for the future? Well, it means the whole idea of air combat, the classic Top Gun dogfight. That whole paradigm is shifting into a completely new domain.
The decisive battles of the future, they're not going to be fought with just missiles and cannons. They're going to be fought with algorithms and antennas. It's going to be a silent, invisible battle for control of the electromagnetic spectrum. And whoever wins that fight controls the sky.
So, let's just quickly boil it all down. The big takeaways here. First, stealth is not a magic invisibility cloak. Second, all that digital complexity creates massive, critical vulnerabilities. Third, super low-cost electromagnetic weapons are a serious asymmetric threat. And finally, it all points to one thing. The future of air combat is electronic.
You know, there's a final quote from the source material that just says it all. It's so simple but so powerful. You can have all the technological supremacy in the world, but it doesn't mean a thing without the electricity to run it. When the power goes out, no code will fly.
And that leads us with one last kind of troubling question to think about. What does it mean for defense, for national security, when your most advanced $100 million weapon can potentially be defeated by technology that was built in a garage? That one thought, that could change everything.